I have a lovely like inner focus, and then I'm going to follow it with prayer. Refuse to fall down. If you cannot refuse to fall down, refuse to stay down. If you cannot refuse to stay down, lift your heart toward heaven, and like a hungry beggar, ask that it be filled, and it will be filled. You may be pushed down, you may be kept from rising, but no one can keep you from lifting your heart toward heaven. Only you. It is the middle of misery. It is in the middle of misery that so much becomes clear. That one who says nothing good came of this is not yet listening. The light of God surround me. The light of God enfold me. The power of God, please protect me. The presence of God hover over me. Wherever I am, be with me. Okay. By the way, that first wonderful, wonderful, wonderful prayer meditation was written by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. The great Clarissa. She is my spiritual godmother. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Okay. I wanted to start with a little bit, I always start with a little bit of a, lecture sort of thing. Entry point. We're going to go from 3 into middle column and transition. When did self-esteem become something? Did your grandparents and parents ever talk about self-esteem? Did your mother ever say, I'm having a self-esteem issue? Never. When did self-esteem become something people talk about? Something people focus on? When did self-esteem become a crisis? I have a crisis of low self-esteem. When did that come on the radar? Well, yeah. But I mean, when did we suddenly discover the inner self? And how did that happen? How did that happen? When did we suddenly pop into ourselves and the inner frontier become the new frontier? When the world behind our eye became the new frontier. And I have a wild, wild, wild imaginary thought to give you. I happen to think this to me is the way I see it. But I'm going to toss it out there. So this is one of those pick it up and try it on for size, and there's absolutely whatever. But for me, the mystical laws, and we'll get there. But the mystical laws are my navigating tool now. The mystical laws, not any teachings from religion. I long ago shed those, and the reason is not because I found the social nonsense going on in churches and politics. I don't pay attention to that. I needed to know why we did not heal. I needed to know the mechanism of us. What made us heal, what made us work behind our eye. That's the only thing that has validity to me, is what makes us work. And the more I looked at that, the more I looked at the I and how we function. What makes us function? What makes a person capable of challenging a malignancy in the body? What makes a person capable of holding a position of withdrawing from an attitude, where an attitude is so strong it holds a spell over somebody. An attitude, a thought form, that's so strong that it possesses a person. It is a possession. And a person can't seem to separate the whole of their psyche and emotional nature from a thought form. That thought form captures them. I've been with people myself who can't break free from the idea that they're under a curse. They're under a curse from a bruja. And this woman had a doctorate in psychology, and she died believing this woman who gave her the evil eye from a window she saw walking home. And nobody could save her. Nobody. I was there myself through the months of trying everything. We even pulled out shamans. Nothing could beat that. These things imprinted me. Never mind all this stuff. What is the world behind our eye? What's the self about? And in my humble opinion, after decades of this, and looking at the changing folk, how everything turned upside down when we entered the nuclear age. What is in one is in the whole. The teachers all agree, as above, so below. So inner space matches outer space, and these are the two new focuses of our attention. What is in inner space is the duplicate of outer space. As complicated and as complex as outer space is a duplicate of our inner space. As multi-dimensioned, as multi-layered as the outer space is as multi-layered as our inner space is. That if we look at ourselves in this world, we look at ourselves as living in chronos, vertical time, in this world. We organize ourselves so that we, in terms of physical time, so that we position our life according to what we see on our face and according to what we see on our calendar. So we think our history goes yesterday to yesterday to yesterday, and our future, it goes tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. We take out a piece of paper that's a calendar, and we think that's our future. This piece of paper called a calendar, that's our future. Okay? When we go into this world, your inner world, the moment you cross over a bridge and get to the world behind your eye, you enter the field of relativity. Things are relative. You're in relative time. The speed at which you heal something is very different than the speed at which this person heals something or that person. The speed at which you understand something is very different than another person. Now you're on your own when it comes to the speed at which, fourth, you forgive. The speed at which you comprehend a concept that could change your life. You are the driver in this world behind your eye. In terms of, I wonder what words I'm going to use. I wonder what ideas I will allow in my space that can change it. I wonder how fast I'm going to allow myself to consider this thought. You're on your own here. And depending on how you navigate inner space, alters your relationship to outer space, to the world around you. I'll give you a very, 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 very tiny example of, and if you get the tiny example, you'll get the whole example. The idea of the concept of inner space and outer space. It's really challenging to communicate this. And part of my frustration as a wordsmith is that what I have learned a long time ago is that as I perceive more and more and get up to the higher altitudes, we don't have the vocabulary yet for this range. We haven't languaged this yet. And we're going to do that, but it's not unlike when we got into science. We had to language that world. We had to create words for what we had to create words like molecule, atom. We had to create words for what we were discovering. In that same way, we have to create words now that help us identify the content of the human energy field. We have to identify the microcosmic content of consciousness as it expresses itself in its active conscious form in our energy field, because it is active data. It is data. When someone says your energy field, the word is too empty. It has no meaning. It communicates nothing. The word belongs in this column. Now pay attention to words. The word belongs in this column. Energy was not used in your first column in this world, in the world below your waist, in the world of physical matter. When someone said the word energy, they were talking about, Jesus, I'm exhausted. I don't have any energy. I'm exhausted. They don't mean it. Come over here. In your middle column, in the world behind your eye, since the emergence of your inner self, that word has taken on and evolved to refer to push yourself out now, inflate yourself to your energy field. In this world, nobody had an energy field. Nobody. That did not exist. And believe me when I tell you, when you slip back into this consciousness, you lose sight of your energy field automatically. It evaporates from your consciousness. No matter how fluent you are in it, no matter how much I teach you, no matter how well I teach you, and I'm brilliant at it, the moment you step into this consciousness, you will forget everything. It will go away. You will, and here's the operative word, de-animate it. So I could come up to you in this consciousness and say, do you know what chakras are? Yeah. Do you have an energy field? Yeah. But you will have de-animated it. In other words, you have to comprehend. You've got to get what that means. It has no meaning here. But in this world, it means everything. It is a power word. It has no power here. Because in this consciousness, you are focused on everybody else coming toward you. Coming toward you. This is a consciousness, your first, second, and third, where the world is bigger than you and it's you against that. This world is more real to you than you are to it. You have to understand the power, the balance of power. When you are in this consciousness, the world is more powerful than you are. In this consciousness, your energy field does not exist. Only your body does, and what it looks like, what it's wearing, what it has, what's in the bank. That's how you, this is how you, and in this consciousness, don't ever go, all the treatments you may get in a health spa like this are nothing but a bunch of money and a body rub. And if you're going here for any kind of treatment for an illness, forget it. If you're going in here, just pay a lot of money for nothing. Because you have not animated the wiring you need to actually assist energy medicine. Operative word, energy. You need your inner space. You need that. You need the interior of you. Okay. You're getting this, yeah? Okay. And so we're going to talk about the self is born on this bridge. Now, how it's been my experience that people discover their inner self through trauma, through an isolation experience, through some kind of challenge, some kind of initiation experience, some kind of some kind of passageway. Because that's how it has to be born. You're not born into yourself in a group. So it's a experience where this world, where you have to be forced out of this world. Just like a male lion has to be forced out of his pride, you have to be forced out in some way. Something about the rules of this world have to break down. Its safety net has to fail you in some way. And you have to be forced out on your own to discover that you have resources in yourself. So you end up, your first landing place is the fourth chakra, or the fourth center in you. I don't like the word chakra, it irritates me, but I haven't got another. Your fourth, because it reminds me of New Agers, and it reminds me of Birkenstocks and all the things that irritate me, but oh well. So it's like your fourth power point. And wheatgrass and all that stuff that, smoothies and ooh. Okay, so because people are eating smoothies or smoking pot on the side and doing all that other stuff, like I'm so healthy. Okay, so the fourth, when you arrive at this, you discover your personal heart. It's like you start going through a dung heap that's been kept here by the tribe, by this, all the years of your life. When we are first formed and growing up, we're in the care of a group. This is eau de toilette, cologne, and perfume. It's all us, but that's the strength of us. And when we're born in the tribal form, we are not the perfume version of ourselves. It's very challenging to become the perfume you. Because a little goes a long way for a long time when you're perfume. And it takes a lot to manage the perfume version of you. Because you can do a lot of damage as perfume, or you can do a lot of good. It's intense, and it's the pure stuff. And it takes a lot to become pure stuff. We start out as eau de toilette. We're liquidated. We are very watery. And so our power is, and our power of creation, our power to make a choice and be responsible for consequences, is shared by a group. It's shared by a group. So we just go with the flow. We're not making individual choices. The group is making the choices with and for us. This is what we believe. Okay, this is what we believe. Individual consciousness hasn't engaged yet. So we're participating in collective cause and effect, collective choice. The speed of that is very important to understand. You are moving at collective speed. If we looked at that in terms of evolution, you're moving at the speed of a generation. That's generational speed. Generational speed. What does that mean? That's the speed of epidemics. That's a very slow speed. This is the speed of conventional medicine. So, conventional medicine says this illness can't be healed. That's the speed of conventional thought. That's the speed. The speed of tribal consciousness is is the speed of how I can't say it right. You participate in how the tribe perceives what's happening on the outside and how the tribe will interpret what's happening on the outside, and the negativity or positive will be absorbed into the tribe as a collective. Did you get that? Because what is in the whole is in one. So however the tribe responds, you will share that drinking water. You will share that in some way. So it goes like this. This is what makes epidemics. Epidemics don't just happen. They're not apples that fall from trees randomly. They happen when a certain collective energy is formed in the tribe. The tribe could be national or the tribe could be global. But we are now at global speed. So we have global epidemics now. We very rarely have epidemics that just exist in small parts of the world because we travel. We board planes. We are all over the place all the time now. And the epidemics have in common, if I profile them for you, like the epidemic of AIDS, what is the profile? The profile is that AIDS is the profile of what are the manifestations? It hits the immune system. First chakra is your immune system. It's the whole of you. It's the protective body. It's the tribe of you. It's like the moat around your castle. It's that protective body. It hits the lungs. The lungs are I want you to compare that to the rainforest, the system of the earth. Its ability to oxygenate. It hits the blood systems. Those are the waterways, the aquatic system of the earth. The immune system's the ozone, the air system. AIDS is, who does it strike? It has hit the people first and foremost who share victim consciousness, prostitute, saboteur, and child. AIDS struck people just as the issue of the need to have a sense of self was rising. The illness that attacks self. Those striving to find self. We get an epidemic. Do you see the connection? And look at even the word AIDS. Just as even the earth was coming into recognize me as a self. And climate change. It all fell together in this incredible pattern of what is in one is in the whole. Come to the aid of. Come to the aid. So those who became most vulnerable are the ones that those 4 archetypes were were vulnerable to the nth degree in every country. And that profiled this particular epidemic. And as the people, especially in the United States and in Western Europe, but certainly in the US, began to surface and come into their dignity, ways of battling this illness were discovered. As they found ways to protect their sense of self and not be victimized. Ways of finding it. As they came into this, they crossed the bridge and began to find their inner self. This is how epidemics happen. Am I making sense to you? There's nothing about an epidemic that is random. Absolutely nothing. Okay. From my point of view, you can walk among lepers or the dead if your consciousness is of a different vibration. But, can you tell that? Can you tell that? How do you know? You have to be really, really, really aware of your sense of self. And it's beyond the, self-esteem of saying, you can't talk to me that way. If you define your self-esteem by shooting off your mouth in such a juvenile way like that, you are an amateur. Self-esteem is not about you telling someone else off and telling them they can't talk to you some way. You're still in baby land. You're still right here you're still battling your own pride and humiliation. That's not self-esteem. That's the absence of it. It's when you can have anyone say anything to you and hold your center. Believe it or not. It's when you get to the place where when you get to the place where you are able to not take things personally, to not take your own life personally, to not take your own life personally, and the things that happen in life. And that is the most difficult thing. You can visit that place on occasion, and it's where you think, okay, the things that happen in life are not about me. It's not, the flood happened in my neighborhood, but not because of me. The fire happened and it's not because of me. Horrible things are happening, but it's not because of me. And if it includes me, but it's not because of me, and I can't take it personally. It's not just my pain. It's everybody's, but this causes pain. And so I'm going to share in that pain, but I can't make it mine, mine, mine. I can't mime it. This is the challenge of the inner self. But the inner self awakens right here with the fourth when you do discover for the first time the depth of your emotional nature, which you have to go through, which we have to go through. And we separate, we start taking our inner self, we start taking our emotions from our tribe, who at that point had been managing our who we are within tribal consciousness. Now, this would be called going and collecting your fragments, because the tribe had you fragmented. This is what we all do. Don't make it sound like they were abusing you. They weren't. This is what tribe does. Just like you've done it to your children. You raise your children in a tribe. You raise them with collective thought. This is what we do. This is how we pray. This is how we make bread. This is how we celebrate the holidays. You are a we here, and we is collective. We do this. We don't do this. We. Who's the we? I only see you in the room. Nevertheless, there's a we here. And that's the we. And that's why you have a sense of they. What will they say? Where are they? They're everywhere. You know, that's how you develop the they, because of the we. Do you see what I mean? What will they say? Well, they're everywhere. Where are they? You look under the bed, you look under the pillow. I don't know where they are, but they're here, you know? It's also the tribe that holds the rules about if there are violations to children. If there are violations like incest, severe beatings, molestation, and a child on his or her own reports that to the tribe. Now really get this. What you are doing is you are doing an act that comes from this column prematurely. Prematurely. You are running to the tribe, and you are fundamentally violating a tribal rule and you don't know it. You're reporting to the tribe that an elder has violated you. And 8 out of 10 times, 7 out of 10 times, by far the majority of times, a tribal elder will instinctively side on the side of the tribe if there's no witness. And the reason that is because the psychic field of the tribe will engage. And that is because the tribe, the elder will want to save the collective unification of the tribe for the sake of safety, security, harmony, protection of the whole against the one. So what the one says will have to be repressed, suppressed, denied against the whole. And so here becomes a violation, a moral crime. But if you understand that it's archetypal, and this is what I'm going to communicate to you, the archetype of the tribe is almost stronger than the choice the individual wants to make. It almost takes over in an instant if you can really truly understand what I'm saying, is that the archetypal force for tribal survival is almost stronger than even what they call the mother bear or tiger force to save the child. The need to save the whole. And so what happens is when a woman, when a man, it's not just women, it's men and women, when they cross the bridge and arrive at their heart for the first time on their own, they often start having memories, flashbacks. They oftentimes think, I didn't dream that. Or these memories that they did have, that they were very aware of, now they start pulling them out. And now they do want to talk to them about them. So the birth of your inner self rarely starts with a great big huge celebration of joy. It starts here in the first chakra of your fourth chakra, if you can understand that. It starts at the beginning, where you have to kind of clean out, which is why the healing industry got started with the self, which is what booted up places like this, which is what gave rise to our interest in personal healing and in the pursuit of the self, was exactly the crossover of this bridge to here. Which is exactly what gave birth to what is it that I'm feeling, and the idea that I've never been able to protect myself. I feel victimized, I feel this. Well, the remedy for that is esteem. The need for self-esteem. The need to esteem yourself. And this is where the idea of the inner self, self-respect, self-integrity, self-esteem was born. Right here.